Has anyone else felt like 2024 just sucked? Like this was just a terrible year? Like, hello besties, welcome back to this week's Sahar Sunday video. If you couldn't tell, we have a new location. A new location is unlocked. It is my car. If you really religiously keep up with me, you know I talked about how I bought a car like a few months ago. I never really posted about it. A lot of bad things happened in my car like really quickly, and I feel like it was because people were like evil-eyeing it a little bit. So I was like, let me just not post about it or talk about it right now. But it's really exciting. It's my first car. I've never bought a car before, and this is a really big moment for me. And I've never really had a dream car, but I think this Tesla, one could say, is quite a dream. I like it. If you guys would want like a what's in my car type video, let me know, because I have so many fun goodies in my car that I would love to show you guys, but I need to make sure you guys would actually like want to see it. If you can tell by the title of this week's video, we're talking about therapist advice, things I learned in therapy that if I'd known it sooner, it really would have helped me. I pay a lot of money for therapy, so I know everybody can't afford that. Let me just tell you some of the main advice that I've learned that really helped me in my therapy self-journey, self-help, self-love. I don't even know what to call it. I've made a lot of growth this year. I want to say a lot of bad things have happened this year. Has anyone else felt like 2024 just sucked? Like this was just a terrible year. Like very amazing things have happened. I'm very grateful for the things that did happen. But overall, very bad year. I went through some things that I don't want to talk about yet. Some things that you guys do know about, like going through a breakup. And just like in general, a lot of stuff. I just feel like 2024 wasn't my year. And that's okay. But I grew a lot. I learned a lot. I'm very proud of the person I'm becoming, the person I've become since this year has gone on. So let's get into some things I've learned in therapy. We're going to be talking about three main things because these are the three most important things I feel like I learned in therapy. And if you're anything like me, which I feel like a lot of you guys are, because like I said, you follow me because we're relatable. Before we get into like the three things I want to talk about, there is a lot of resources for therapy or like therapy alternatives that you can get into. I definitely want you guys to like get the help that you need if you need it. I'm not certified anyway. I'm literally just a client of another therapist. I love my therapist. I do have to gatekeep her though. I'm sorry. If you're in college, a lot of colleges offer some sort of like mental health support. I feel like they're starting to take like mental health really seriously in students, so you could probably find like some sort of supports there. If you're in Canada and you're under like 25, I think, I'm pretty sure your doctor's office will have a mental health counselor that you can talk to, and that's what I started with. Before I got my like actual therapist, I just had a mental health counselor. Do what you can. Seek out your resources, see what's possible. Lesson number one, something that I've had to work on severely this last year, is letting go of control. This has showed in a lot of bad decisions I made in the past, and it's always because I'm trying to control the narrative. I'm trying to control what's happening. My therapist was like, Sahar, 99% of things are completely out of your control. Like you want to think like, oh, if I make the right decision, something bad won't happen. If I make this decision, this won't happen. But like nothing is in your control. Like as crazy as that sounds, it's just based on how you're going to react to what just happened. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen however it's meant to happen. And there's little to nothing you can do about it. And that can be really scary. But I also feel like that's sort of freeing because it's like, okay, it's completely out of my control. I can't really do anything about it. I can only handle how I react to it.
A few moments later.
There's this little girl who keeps eyeing me. Okay, I know. If you guys know, like one of my lures was like, I had a friend who basically started seeing like this guy that I really liked, and she kept it a secret from me, and it was this whole thing, and I got blindsided, and it was really heartbreaking, and that was the first time I had to like seek a mental health counselor because I was just like really going through it mentally. This girl's fully doing dances and spinning around in front of me. Girl, where's your mom? Where is your mom? I recently feel like I had that trauma triggered where I was like, is my friend low-key seeing my ex right now? And I literally, the voice that I had in my head, it was literally like my therapist's voice coming in. It was like, if she is, what can you do about it? Whether or not I was upset, whether or not I lash out, whether or not I knew it, whether or not it was true, like if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen. There's nothing I could have done in that moment to stop them from like doing something. If that were to have happened, it didn't. Okay, that was just me being anxious. You want to think so many things are in your control. They're not. Nothing is. Nothing is in your control. It was written how it's written. It's gonna happen how it's meant to happen. You can only control how you react to the situation. Lesson number two, which I'm really passionate about, and you guys know I'm passionate about this, attachment styles. That is the number one thing that I love learning about in therapy. I literally walked in and was like, I think I'm an anxious attachment, and I think he was an avoidant attachment, and my therapist helped me really understand those things a lot better. I'll put a link for an attachment style quiz in my like description, so if you guys want to do it, you can. Obviously, there's more to it than just like a quiz. The quiz isn't going to always be accurate, but it was very helpful for me to start understanding attachment styles a little better. So there's 4 attachment styles: secure, then there's anxious, there's fearful avoidant, and then there's dismissive avoidant. Fearful avoidant can also be called disorganized, so that's that. Secure is like just a very secure person in every way in their life. In relationships, they're not really the jealous type. When they're in a relationship, they feel very comfortable in it. They most likely grew up with like a 2-parent household, very loving relationships with all their family members. Their parents are like in love and happy and show them love and support them and la-da-da. Anxious attachment is the people who tend to get very clung on to people very easily. And anytime they're in a relationship, they never feel very like secure and good. Like they're always kind of like, oh my god, are they gonna leave me? And this is where I am. I'm an anxious attachment. And I did do a smidge more research just so that I could give you the guys the right terms for stuff. For anxious attachment people, it comes from experiencing inconsistency in your childhood from your parents or like your parental figure, whatever. And then your response became hyper clingy and very attached, and you were constantly seeking reassurance and fearing abandonment. We constantly need you to tell us like, no, I still like you. No, I still love you. No, I still care about you. Like, no matter how many times they show it, you're still gonna be like, but wait, the second they're a little bit off, you're gonna be like, wait, do you not like me anymore? What's happening? And then let's get into avoidance. So fearful avoidance slash disorganized is a mix of dismissive avoidant and anxious attachment. So you can lean either way, but you have both tendencies. So you're gonna pick up anxious tendencies, and then you're gonna pick up dismissive avoidant tendencies, which let me walk you through this. Avoidant attachment often forms when a child experiences caregivers who are emotionally unavailable, dismissive, or rejecting. The child learns that expressing emotions doesn't result in comfort or connection, so they suppress their emotional needs to avoid being rejected or dismissed. You learned from a really young age that the only person you can rely on is you. And the response online is, the child learns to become emotionally self-reliant, minimizing their emotional needs and avoiding closeness or dependency. In adulthood, they might struggle with intimacy or push others away to maintain emotional distance. For the most part of my life, to be honest, I think I grew up fearful avoidant. The second I started feeling like real connection, I would immediately get scared and be like, never mind. And then I'd like run away. And I did this so often in like high school. That was kind of my immediate response with that. I'd like get close with someone and then ghost them out of the blue because I was like, I can't, I'm scared. And here's the thing, like your attachment style is kind of like created based on like your early childhood experiences, but it can change over time. It can change with different partners. It can change with different life experiences. With my ex, he was definitely more dismissive avoidant than he was like anxious, but he was definitely both because I 1000% saw both sides of it. When I was with him, because he was such an avoidant, my anxiety got triggered. I went from fearful avoidant who leaned anxious to just pure anxious. Like I had no avoidance in me because I was constantly seeking his validation. And then again, I turned into that little kid who's just like begging for like their parents' attention. Love my parents, no shade to them. Something that my mom would do a lot when I was growing up was when she was mad at me, she would give me the silent treatment. I would go from having this really loving, sweet mom who'd like cuddle me and to like not speaking to me whatsoever. And I remember how much anxiety I'd get, which don't do that. If you're a parent, if you're gonna be a parent, don't do that because it fucks you up. I can't speak too much on avoidance because I'm not really an avoidant. I am very anxious. I had the avoidant tendencies when I was younger, so I do understand them to an extent. Avoidance, they just like really value their independence, and they're also really scared of rejection and abandonment. And an anxious person's reaction to abandonment will be becoming hyper clingy. Whereas the second an avoidance senses 1 ounce of rejection or the possibility of rejection, they move themselves from the situation so that they don't have to deal with it. I didn't realize how common it was for anxious and avoidance to end up together, but with avoidance, they're both so scared of rejection that the second one of them starts acting avoidant, they're both going to turn away. When it comes to avoidance and anxious, avoidance really like that anxious will give them all that reassurance. Like anxious will never let you feel like they don't like you. And then for the anxious, they kind of like the emotional unavailability of the avoidant because it makes them feel like there's still like a chase aspect. Because with anxious, we love the chase. It's like this weird toxic like tornado dynamic where they're like always going to keep going to each other, but it never works. By the end of a relationship with an avoidant, they're going to deactivate so hard that you're going to be like nothing to them. They're going to discard you like it's nothing. So don't recommend. And then the last point I want to talk about is the true meaning of rejection. Okay. Because rejection is such a hard thing for anyone to accept and take. When I got rejected, that's when my anxious attachment clicked in and I would be like, wait, hello, like you just rejected me. Why? Like you think I'm worth less than I am? Okay. I need to cling on to you and prove to you that I am worth more than you think. And one of the things my therapist like really helped me understand was what rejection actually means. And the reality of rejection is just a person saying, I'm not the one for you. They're not saying I'm better than you. They're not saying you're not pretty, you're not fun, you're stupid, like none of that. The way that really helped me cope with this was she said, if they weren't the one for you, you would have eventually realized it. They just realized it first. And rejection is good because it gives you more time to find the next person. Why would you want to waste your time with the wrong person? My therapist would always say like, you should be so excited when someone rejects you because like now you know, okay, that's not my person. I didn't waste my time. I'm good. I'm chilling. And that's the way to be. It's so much easier said than done, but you need to just remind yourself when someone rejects you, when someone ghosts you, when someone breaks up with you, they're literally just saying, I'm not the person for you. And it hurts. It sucks, but that doesn't mean you're worth less. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. Like realistically, we all have one person or maybe a couple people, but like if they're not the one for you, they're not the one for you. I know especially with having an anxious attachment, like it's so easy to feel like, oh, when someone rejects me, it's because I'm not pretty enough. It's because I'm not cool enough. I so heavily associated being rejected in that relationship with my worth, but like I'm realizing it's nothing to do with that. Like he was an avoidant person. He was going to self-sabotage that relationship whether I liked it or not, whether he did it then or did it later or he tried to do it sooner. Like that was not going to work. That was not my person. It wasn't meant to be. It hurt. And I'm glad I took the time to heal. I'm glad I processed it how I did, but it had nothing to do with me. I could have literally been the hottest human on this earth. I could have had the best body on this earth. I could have been this guy's dream woman, okay? I already thought I was. And he still would have found a way to self-sabotage it. He still would have found a way to ruin it. It didn't matter my looks. It didn't matter my person. It was literally all him. Like, he had his own unhealed attachment. We're gonna keep finding ways to ruin our relationships until we heal the inner child in us. That was like the toughest pill to swallow, but I realized, like, okay, it wasn't me. It was never me. It was never gonna be me until this guy heals his own shit. It would have never worked with us anyways. So that's it for this week's Sahar Sunday video. We have 3 really big advice that I want you guys to remember forever and ever. 1, you have to let go of control. Nothing is in your control. 2, I want you to learn about attachment styles, learn what your attachment style is, and find how you can heal that shit. And 3, rejection is your best friend, because someone is telling you, don't waste your time on me, I'm not your person, and then you go find the right person. So when someone rejects you, you need to be happy and be like, okay, yeah, I didn't waste more time with this. I love you guys. I hope you love this video, and if you want more videos like this, let me know. But I'll see you guys next week on Sahar Sunday. Bye!